Wife is mad because I bought us a house for cheap. I'm 29 and my wife is 25 female. We have been looking for homes for a while now and have been having some issues mainly because it's just me applying for the home because her credit and debt are very bad to put it lightly. The homes we have seen are not that good, that's in our price range. Fast forward about year and a half of us looking, we find a great house, plenty of room to grow with a family, good area, good school zones, great neighborhood, and it's pretty close to everything, but what makes it the best is the price, and my wife loves it. She tells me she fell in love with the house the moment she walked in. So while I'm doing the paperwork, my wife is looking around the house, inspecting things to make sure everything is right. After a brief discussion, I have found out that the reason the house was so cheap is because someone died in it in a bad accident, to say the least. This did not faze me as the price was just really good for us. So after the wife was finished her inspection, she asked me what I think, and next thing I know we are homeowners. Fast forward to the present, which was about almost 4 months ago. We are watching TV and she says how much she loves the house and she can't figure out why the house was below the value that everywhere else had for it. So me, not thinking it was a big deal, told her, and now she is freaking out as I have never known her to be superstitious or spiritual, but now she is paranoid the house is haunted and is mad at me for not telling her. She even started sleeping with basically a night light on, and I've been on the couch since. Yeah, it's definitely something that should have been brought up before, but at this point you've already bought the house and y'all are living in it. Maybe remind her about why she fell in love with it before. It's still the same house. People die everywhere all the time. I think she'll eventually come around. If you and your wife are dumb enough to buy into witches cleansing the house or whatever, just pay one of the witches a couple bucks to declare it clean of ghosts and move on. I think it's pretty unreasonable that she's upset. I'm with you, who cares? But tell her if she wants, you can burn sage and do a cleanse on the house. There's instructions online on how to do it. It's pretty silly, but being upset about whatever happened in the house is silly too. You definitely should have told her. I think real estate agents are obligated to tell homeowners if someone died in the house. It is strange that you were told but not her. Anyway, probably she will get over it in time. Yeah, you should have told her. I wouldn't move in, that's for sure. What happened in the house? Just out of morbid curiosity. This wasn't a bad accident. Sounds like a murder-suicide happened in the house, monoxide leak that was on purpose. Most people wouldn't be comfortable living in a house where people were murdered. That's what drives the value down. I'm not superstitious at all, but no, I don't want to sleep and raise my children where someone killed their family. No thank you. I really have no advice for this other than give it time. You could try and find out more about the person who died there. Then your wife might think of them as a person who had a tragic end and not a scary ghost. Dude, just apologize and hire some sort of spiritual shaman, exorcist type to come to the house and perform a spiritual cleansing. It'll cost you somewhere from $100 to $500 and give your wife the peace of mind she deserves. Chalk it up as a pricey white lie and move on with your life. You mentioned a deliberate monoxide leak, so murder-suicide? It's completely irrational, but I wouldn't want to live in a house with a recent death like that. I don't even believe in the supernatural but get easily spooked like a little kid. While you claim is unreasonable for her to be upset, there's a reason realtors are legally required to inform about stuff like this. It really bothers some people, like your wife. A spiritual cleansing or a blessing of the house might make her feel better? Also, you calling her unreasonable? Not helpful. According to some of your replies, a family was murdered, not so accidental monoxide leak? Yikes, in this house. That's serious. Honestly, how can you not care how she feels about it? Geez, well, at least you got a roof over your head. Always gotta be grateful for that, even if you gotta share with a ghost. LMAO, does she think this is paranormal activity or The Conjuring? Let's hope she gets over this nonsense soon. IDK, it being violent death seems to be what bothers people, and your wife the most. And that seems to be something that just either bothers you or it doesn't. I personally don't care. Like, wouldn't you want to make this house a good place again? Live in it and make it yours. The others are dead, it's your time now. You should have told her. The price is impacted precisely because a lot of people feel the exact same way your wife does about these things. Of course she is mad. Even if she didn't care, she has the right to know something like that and make her own decision about it. I suspect you didn't tell her because you knew it would make her uncomfortable and you deliberately chose to deceive her. Welcome to the consequences of your actions. You need to fix it. I hope she makes you sell it. Your wife is either a bit naive or just looking for a reason to hate this place. You guys lucked out because of a terrible accident. Wow, that's called life. People die all the time. How many places are haunted just because of the land itself? It's a risk any person takes when you live anywhere. Like I live in an old-ass apt building that used to be a senior home with staff. I'm convinced this place is haunted because I know hella people have died here. I even heard that a body was found in the marsh behind our parking lot. Just ask her how she thinks people in Europe cope with hundreds of years' worth of dead people? It could be an American thing because everything is so new. I wouldn't even think of telling my husband something like that. Of course people died in our house and it's only 80 years old. I would eyeball it that 80% of population in Europe lives in houses in which someone died. Now that I think back, I never lived in a house in which no one died. So I read about this incident. What you're leaving out was the deaths were a murder-suicide. That's a bit different than an accident. Very few people are going to want to be in a house where that happened. Lots of houses have had people die in them. Even new houses still have had thousands of years' worth of people die on that same land. She managed to go 3 to 4 months in that house without ever being haunted or scared, but now that she knows someone died there, it's haunted. Just let her know as nicely as possible that it's all in her head. Burn some sage if you have to. And enjoy the fact that you got a great house on the cheap with virtually nothing wrong with it. If you didn't think it was a big deal and she'd shrug it off the way you did, then, no fault there. If you did have a doubt that it would inform a decision, then yes, you probably should have told her. You never knew her to be superstitious, so I would lean to my first statement. If I were to think about it logically, given the home buying hardships y'all experienced plus you doing the actual buying, something like superstition shouldn't have come in the way of this anyway. In any argument, you would have come out as the right party. Have her hire someone to cleanse the house. People die in houses all the time. It's just a structure. And, if she believes in spirits and hauntings, then wouldn't she have experienced something previous to being furnished with the knowledge of the house's history? Additional thought, if her credit and debt wasn't so bad, then would you have been able to afford a house without this history? If she's felt fine for almost 4 months living in it and never had weird vibes, then I'm not sure why she's freaking out now. Also, you know, ghosts aren't real. I moved into my house 2 months ago. The person who lived here before me died in the house back in May. Never bothered me in the slightest. I think the dead have better things to do than sitting about watching my boring ass. If it makes her feel any better, you could go and buy some sage smudge sticks to cleanse the house. I had to do this for my 13-year-old after someone let slip in front of her lol. This is a Christian perspective, and I get that you may not believe it. If she's a believer, though, maybe telling her that the dead are incapable of coming back to haunt the living, Luke chapter 16 verses 19 to 31, parable of Lazarus and the rich man, will help her relax. But bringing in magical rituals might actually cause problems that look like haunting, or worse. Still, that may not be enough for your wife. It may simply be an uneasy feeling for her to live in rooms where several people have died due to malicious intent. This feeling may never go away. I suppose you have to wait and see if things change for her or not. Sorry, don't know what else to tell you. You can do a smudging ceremony which will rid you and the area of all attached negative energy. You could even have a priest do a blessing on the house. This might make her feel better. You should watch the movie Sinister. Let her know spirits, since she believes in that stuff, if they are still around, cling on to negative emotions. So if she's scared, the spirit will very likely hold on to her. So she should act fine and happy. People die all the time. Everywhere. Where does she think the last 7 billion people died? Sage the house and say go to the light and she will feel better. Do something physical to Cleanse the house. Burn sage, call a rabbi, spatter some or holy water around. Just something that makes her feel in control of the situation. For a start, tell her the person died in the bedroom and let her sleep on the couch instead. She may have found out at some other point. You should have told her sooner, but at least you have now. I jest when I think your name's on the house but you're on the couch. If she really feels like it'll be haunted, you can hire someone to come in and cleanse it and bless it. So you still have your wonderful home without the bad vibes. It all seems a bit silly, but everyone has to feel comfortable living there. Well, time to call the wither then, I suppose. Just toss him a coin, will ya? Don't know what religion you practice, but priests will come and bless your home. Your wife is a Hmong. It's not going to matter. If her credit and debt are as bad as you say by age 25, they'll just get worse and you guys will be financially underwater and have to sell foreclosed within 5 years anyways. Your wife is a broke idiot. The end. And I've been on the couch since. So you are sleeping on the couch instead of your own bed because your wife believes in ghosts? I'd take a hard look at my life if I were you. What was the cause of the accident? Another reason people don't like buying death in my case is the nature of the death could be a flag for criminal activity. Sage is said to calm and get rid of spirits when burned.